Okay, can you hear me? No, not really.
You could hear when she was talking in Spanish, she was screaming. Vámonos!
Okay, hi. I'm going to talk for just a few minutes because normally I would just share like a funny story and a sad story, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about a sad story, and then I'm going to tell you about how this trip impacted me. And first, I'm going to tell you how the story first. Okay. This is probably one of my favorite memories, even though there's a lot of funny ones. And I already told some of you, most of them happened in the bathroom with Bugs and Vanna. But this particular one was actually with one of my kids. I was a team leader of the red team, and one of my kids, her name was Lacey. She was finished eating, and after they finished eating, they were allowed to get seconds, and they had to tell me what they wanted because, like Chris said, Nicaraguans they have to eat everything on their plate. So what they get, they have to eat. And so she told the translator what she wanted, and she told me everything except fruit. So that's what I did. I brought her everything except fruit, and she looks at her plate and she's like, "No, tortilla, no!" And she just throws the tortilla down because she already had a tortilla. And I was like, I wonder why she wanted another tortilla. And she's just like having a fit, "Tortilla, no, no!" And I was like, "Sorry, Lacey." So she had to eat the tortilla. That's my funny story. And then just one of the most moving things on the trip. Well, no, not the most moving, but it was the last day of camp, and it was very sad already for me because I had built such a relationship with my kids, and I didn't want them to go, especially not back to it. I knew they had to go back to. But we're about to load up on the bus. It's a little bit after our last chapel service, and I had the kids just coming up to me. They're hugging me and getting on their knees, and of course they're speaking in Spanish, and they're pleading with me. They're like, "Please don't make me go. Don't make me go." And I don't know what they're saying, but I go and ask my translator, and she told me that, and it was just like, boom, it hit me. And they're clinging on to me. They won't let go. "Please don't make me go." I'm like, "Please don't make me go." And it broke my heart. And I just had to watch those kids load up on the bus after they hung on to me. One of the little boys, which I told you about, is Stephen, hugging me, and he didn't say much. He was only 6 years old, and he just hugged and just kept staring at me. And when it was time to go, he walked to the bus and he would look back, and then he got on the bus. And all my kids and all the other kids, they'll tell you the same story. They're sticking their hands out the window, they're putting hearts out, they're saying, "I love you." Before they left, they whispered in my ear, "I'm gonna miss you, Emily. I love you so much." And all of us girls, of course the guys didn't cry, they're too macho for that. They're just standing looking at these kids, and we're waving by, and as the bus goes by, you see every one of these girls just crying their eyes out. And we just had to take 20 minutes and just gather our thoughts. So that's my sad memory. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this trip, it was for the kids, that's why we went. I didn't go to get ministered to, but it happened. This trip for me, I told my parents when I got home, it was just showing me the power of God. That's it. That's what this trip was. That's how it affected me. I knew God was powerful before I left America, but I didn't know how powerful, or I guess I didn't realize how powerful. Just the smallest things, like Grace, she bought an iPod, and she wanted to take videos of everything that happened so she could document the whole trip. And it died, and she was disappointed, and she was just like, "God, please, I really want to document this trip. I want to use my iPod." And she turned it on, full battery. That's just one little miracle, and it may not seem like a lot to you, but I can tell you it meant a lot to Grace. And we shouldn't have made our flight home to Atlanta, but we did. We had maybe 45 minutes to an hour. We had to go through customs, security, all this stuff, and we made it early on our flight. So that was awesome. But one of the big things for me, the whole trip, we were having prayer time, praying, and I don't know if some of you guys know, but Seth Mills has been called to missions in Africa, and we've had many talks about it. I am a family-oriented person. I am a mama's girl, I'm a daddy's girl. I don't want to leave them. And so I was like, Seth, I don't know what we're going to do, because I don't know if I can go to Africa. I don't know if I can leave home. And so I was praying just fiercely about that while we were in Nicaragua. God, what do you want me to do? Because I fell in love with Nicaragua. I fell in love with those kids. I fell in love with missions. And I didn't want to, because, like I said, I don't want to leave. So I was like, God, I'm giving you me. What do you want to do with me? And I was getting very frustrated. I wasn't getting an answer. I didn't know what to do. And our last day of camp, after the kids had already left, Ken wanted to do like a praise and worship prayer thing with us. So we all, for 45 minutes, we turned on music, we turned off all the lights. It was just us and God. And it was just the wind blowing in, and we're praying, we're worshiping, and I'm just sitting here listening to this song, worshiping God, and Tyler comes up to me, and he doesn't look at me. He puts his hand on my shoulder. He says, Trimble, because that's what everybody calls me. And he says, God wants me to tell you something. And I was like, okay. All right, what is that? And he was like, God wants me to tell you that he has a plan for you. And it's going to involve you leaving your family and your friends, but he has it in his hands. And I was just like, hello, answered a prayer. I just fall on my knees and I'm just thanking God, thank you. So, I am going to be doing missions. I will be here, but sometime in the future, I'm going to be going off to, whether it's Africa, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, wherever it is, I'm going where God wants me to go. And I'm not going to... I don't know exactly the plan, but I know God has a plan, and I have to trust in Him. And I'm going to miss my parents and my sisters and my brothers, but I have to do what I'm called. So, that's it. Okay.
To show the power of God, not only were there scorpions and spiders and bugs of all kinds in their shower, but she said, Dad, every night there were just swarms of, there were just bugs all over my bed. She didn't go into detail about all that.
Let me tell y'all something. Emily does not do bugs. I mean, literally, we will be in the car going somewhere, and a wasp or something will get in the car, and she's driving, and she has almost wrecked us before. Because there's a wasp in the car. So she comes back telling us all this, and I'm like, Emily, I don't know how you survive. But Emily, it had to be done.
I'll tell you, the first day she didn't survive. There was a reason I said no contacting parents. Because she would have said, come get me now.
Bugs under the sheets, bugs on top of the sheets. Just, that's the power of God. To stay and to endure it and say, God, use me in missions. I want you to look at me right now. Look at me. You're not here today by accident. Have you given God you?
Exactly.
I may be talking to somebody here who may not be right with God, but I'm talking to people here who are right with God, and the question is still, have you given God you? God, use me. God, let me team up with you.
Yeah.
Let me work with you and be a fellow worker with God. Think about that awesome opportunity. You will go on adventures and have exciting things happen to you and some freakiest things happen to you, but you will see God in power and God work in mighty ways. In your life, through your life, and with you, teamed up with God. Teamed up with God. Man, let's stand for our feet.